because there's possibly a sneaky little Pinterest SEO mistake hiding on your website, that is doing you no favors. In fact, I talked about this in a previous video, how your website could be the hidden piece of your Pinterest strategy that you were just missing out on. Before you make another batch of fresh pins, you should probably go to your website and save some images to your Pinterest account directly from your listings, either product listings or blog posts, and see what other people see when they save your content from your website. Because there's possibly a sneaky little Pinterest SEO mistake hiding on your website, that is doing you no favors. In fact, I talked about this in a previous video, how your website could be the hidden piece of your Pinterest strategy that you were just missing out on. So that's what we're going to chat about in today's video.
So most people think that their Pinterest SEO starts on Pinterest itself, that they can come into Pinterest and use the search bar or use the trends tool to find keywords to then put on their Pinterest pins in the form of titles, descriptions, text overlays, you name it. Now, what you might be missing is the fact that you might not be choosing the right board, or you may be adding those keywords to your profile, to your boards, but the full picture is not represented here. And Pinterest SEO and a Pinterest SEO strategy, a full one, of like a holistic, well-rounded Pinterest strategy, really encompasses all of the things I already mentioned. So writing pin titles, writing keyword pin, rich pin descriptions, writing text overlays, choosing the right board, utilizing Pinterest trends in advance, making sure that you are adding your keywords to your title of your profile, to your, profile bio, etc. But it also includes the information on your website when you are working on and editing what comes out of the blogs and the product pages. So in a lot of cases, you can use tools like Yoast, and you can use tools like, where is it hiding? Here, Social Warfare, specifically for Pinterest, to dictate what your pin title and description is going to be, and what Pinterest images you are going to force the tool to actually save for you. So when I actually open this up and I click this pin it button, those are the two pins that actually show up. Now, what might be happening to you is something that we had chatted about in a previous video titled Why Your Website Might Be a Hidden Part of Your Pinterest Strategy. Inside of your top pin report on Pinterest Analytics and your Pinterest Analytics dashboard, you come in here and you filter through these reports and you look through the top 50 pins. If you notice any of these pins that say no pin description, what that actually means is there's no pin title or description coming through the meta from your website to Pinterest, and that is a problem. You definitely want to have the information that people can save on your website to be properly optimized so Pinterest can index and serve that content to the right group of people. So what's actually happening here is a lot of the Pinterest activity doesn't actually come from you on Pinterest alone. It actually comes from people engaging with your content on Pinterest, then going to your website and potentially coming back around and saving additional pins. Look at this pin here, Pinterest Marketing for Teachers Pay Teachers. It says the pin is organic and it says other pins and your pins. What this means is someone has found this blog post. They have saved this Pinterest pin from the blog post, but I have also saved this Pinterest pin from the blog post. So this is helping us. If it says no pin description and it's your pins and other pins, then chances are some variations of that specific pin do have pin copy in them, and probably a decent amount. But if it says just other pins and no pin description, that is a hang up that you need to fix right away. So readers and shoppers can visit your site and they can save images directly from your website using either these third-party Pinterest, X, Facebook, Buffer, like whatever, these third-party sharing buttons. But they can also use the pin it button straight inside of their browser. So if I open up the pin it button on my browser and click it, these are the images inside of this blog post that I can save. These saves become live Pinterest pins on Pinterest. And if you have not done the work of optimizing those Pinterest pins on your website, then chances are they're not going to reach the right audience or enough of the right audience because Pinterest doesn't have enough context about who to serve it to. What I see in a lot of the Pinterest audits that I do is a lot of the pins in the top pin reports that say no pin description are your pins, meaning they are pins that you made, but there is a good portion of them that are also other pins, meaning they are pins that other people have saved. And if that is happening, it's definitely a leak in the boat and we need to fix it. It really means that the previous video where I already covered your Pinterest strategy could be part of like hidden in your website as well. Your website is a part of your overall Pinterest strategy, and making sure that each page, each listing, each blog post is properly optimized, not only for Google, but for Pinterest, will help you to be discovered in the long run. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to test this out. So if we come in and we click the browser Pinterest button and we click Save to Pinterest, and let's say I save this image here, and I'm just going to go save this to this ad research board. This is going to pop up View. I'm going to click it, and I want to see what information Pinterest is pulling from this blog post. So it's definitely pulling the blog post title, and it's pulling a meta description, likely from the actual Yoast itself. So if we actually just go look at this in the edit post tab, so it's, are you looking for a free way to schedule your Pinterest pins? And it's not pulling the open graph settings for that one. So it's probably pulling the open graph settings for Yoast. Nope, it's not even pulling that. So it's the image itself for this specific instance of what is actually pulling out of the blog post or from the website. Now, this image that I just saved is actually the keyword workshop image in the sidebar of my website. So every time I upload an image to my website, I actually add a title and a description to the image. And that's something that I would encourage you to do as well. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to enable your users, your site visitors, to create Pinterest content for you on your behalf without you ever having to be online or be involved. Your manual pins that you're creating for your Pinterest account are still very important. However, you want to enable Pinterest users that are visiting your website to do this work for you on your behalf while you're working on other things. When we get really down to the problem here, it's the mistake is that your website images just are not pinnable. They are not Pinterest friendly. So they may be the wrong size. They may be too grainy. The font might be the wrong thing. It might just have a terrible color. It might not look good saturation wise. There may be vague words on the image itself. There are so many things that you could be doing wrong here, but ultimately the thing that I want you to focus on is the metadata, because you can fix the images. You can get better at design, but if you never get better at making sure your metadata on your website is correct, or at least usable to Pinterest platform, to the Google platform, etc., then what's the point? You're doing all this work, but you're losing out on valuable pieces of your overall website strategy. So weak metadata might be having a vague click here, call to action. It could have the name of the image might be image 4567. Description might just be completely empty. There may be nothing in the alt text box itself. And those are things that we definitely want to fix and we want to identify. That way, if you are not using a third-party tool like Social Warfare, Tasty Pins, Hubbub, etc., then at least people who can pin things from your website, you can put a pin it button on your website. They can use the browser pin it button and they can still save things from your website on your behalf. Now, ideally, what you're doing when you are uploading content to your media library is you are putting something in the title, in the alt text, and in the description. You can put it in the social warfare description, and you can also put it in the description of the image itself. It's not going to show on the front end of the website unless you change the setting for it to actually show. And then what's going to happen is Pinterest can pull that information from the website itself. Now, let's talk briefly about why this can affect your Pinterest performance as we kind of move into a quick, website audit checklist of things that you can work on. So number one is Pinterest needs signals to understand what your pin is about, who it's for, what searches it could appear within. So what search terms should it be indexed for? What board it should fit on. And if you put it on the wrong board, that sends a bad signal as well. And what related content this should be served within. Website saved pins can be watered down and weaken if the description is missing, if the title is generic, if you're only using the same blog title every single time with your manual made pins as your website saved pins. So you want to have some differentiate those. Now your website saved pins can only have this one because that's what's in the metadata, but your manual pins that you are making and scheduling can have variety. The image that you choose for the actual website, so the blogs, the listing, whatever, are not related to the product. They're not related to the blog posts. They are unrelated entirely. That can definitely weaken the Pinterest website saved content. Because remember, Pinterest is pulling whatever is pulling from the page. So I want to give you an example of this. There has been someone that saved a Pinterest logo from my website, and it is one of my top pins and has been for a long time, as well as an Instagram logo from my website. And they've also saved a generic image frame. Now, these are getting impressions, but when I go to the outbound clicks report, they're probably not listed. And you can see they're not listed. So these are not doing me really any favors. So what I need to do is I need to go to these URLs and I need to make sure that people cannot pin those specific icons and that they are saving images that I dictate. So that is something that I can now go fix, which brings us really into a quick website audit for Pinterest SEO. Now, before we get into that list, I do want to tell you that metadata is not the only ranking factor, but in this instance, for this specific video, it is something that a lot of people are just completely missing the boat on. They're either not doing it or they're doing it haphazardly, they're halfway doing it, or maybe they just add a title and that's it. So there's a lot missing here that we can improve on. Now, quick website audit for Pinterest SEO. I'm going to briefly glance over you to look at the checklist. Okay, so if you see me not looking at you, I'm looking at the checklist. Number one is check your top pages for traffic on Pinterest. So go to your outbound clicks report and click through to each of these and just make sure that all the images, all the metadata and all the images and everything looks good. You want to check your pin it button. So go to those blog posts, save the images from your sharing buttons, save the images from the browser pin it button and check both of them and just make sure that they both look good and they're both pulling in the metadata. I want you to look at the image options available when you do click the pin it button. Are there images in there that you should not have in there? If there are, there is code that you can get, and I'm not going to give it to you in this video. If you're interested, you can reach out to me via email. We can talk about it because it is website specific. But you can put in the images so they will not pop up for pin it buttons. Look at the title. Is it keyword rich? Does it contain a Pinterest keyword and not just a blog keyword or Google SEO? Look at the description that's coming into that image. Is it 500 to 800 characters long? Does it contain Pinterest keywords? Look at the URL and make sure it's linking to the correct page, because the image relevancy to the page is important for indexing and reach. And then you want to repeat the entire process on your mobile phone. Yes, my mobile phone is attached to a tripod. You want to check the entire process on your phone and make sure that everything looks good on mobile. It might be working just fine on desktop and it might not look good on mobile. So make sure you check mobile as well. Now, you don't have to start and do a full website audit in one day. Start with 5 to 10 pages. Start with your top Pinterest referral pages, then move on to seasonal content that's coming up soon, then move on to evergreen pages with the most potential in both saves and outbound clicks. But do not forget your top pins in the impressions report, because there may be seasonal content that's coming soon showing in impressions, but it's not showing in saves or outbound clicks just yet. So don't ignore this report. And then I want you to just look at older content on your website. If there's anything outdated, out of brand. For me specifically, this post right here is one that I have updated, but this is a pin that keeps hanging on. And this is like the very first branding that I did for my heatherfarris.com website. So look for pins that are showing up in your list with older, outdated branding, and go update those with new pins, with new images, with new branding in those pages as well. Now, I want to just call something out here briefly, and that is that not every single image in your blog post needs to be Pinterest friendly. Not every single image that comes through a pin it button is going to actually be related to the website either. So if you click a pin it button and you notice there are images that are unrelated to the blog, like these down here, these are ads, by the way. These are related pins that I've saved. Here are those stupid icons that I need to go and mark as do not pin. Not everything on a page or in a pin it button is going to be related to that page. So just be aware that you may not be able to hunt everything down and fix it. But at the same time, not everything needs to be Pinterest friendly, because your entire website is not only for and about Pinterest. Your Pinterest SEO is important. And this is where I have other videos on the channel that talk about Pinterest specific scheduling tools. I have other videos on the channel talking about Pinterest SEO, Pinterest trends, the search bar, the ads manager, how to find keywords, how to use keywords. There is so much content on my YouTube channel where you can go and you can learn about all of these things if they are of interest to you.
So, of course, what I want you to do before you walk away and go create that next batch of pins is, as we discussed in today's video, I want you to go save a Pinterest pin from your website using mobile, using desktop, using the pin it button on your website, using the generic pin it button for Chrome or Firefox or whatever browser you're using. I want you to save some images from your website and see what comes out on the other side and how Pinterest users are seeing your content. Is it hurting or is it helping? We don't know until we double check. This is something that a lot of people really miss out on, is they never actually double check their work. And that can lead down the path ultimately of turning potential users away, and maybe they don't engage with your content anymore because they had a bad experience, or they'll email you and tell you that you've done something wrong, which is what I prefer to happen, because then I can go fix it. So there are plenty of other Pinterest strategy videos here on the channel. There's the Pinterest Pin Profit Academy membership that I host. You can hire me directly if you need any help or assistance with this as well. I will see you in one of those places.